when Obama had his time to appoint a Supreme Court justice, he was going to appoint Garland. These maniacs in the Senate said, no way, not interested. And now we've got a Supreme Court that's nuts.
Well, it's a really extremely conservative court, maybe the most conservative court in modern history. And when they struck down Roe v. Wade, saying that it was not constitutionally, federal constitutionally guaranteed, it was a state issue. States could make those judgments. And one of the justices, Clarence Thomas, said, it's not that women don't have a choice. They can, in fact, change it if they, in effect, at a state level, like, well, we'll see if they have any power. Well, they ain't seen nothing yet. You're going to see what will happen. If I'm elected president again in the second term, we're going to be able to make Roe v. Wade the law of the land again, because based on every state in the union being able to judge or get a majority vote.
You think that
I think
can be
we
done?
can do that, because I think there's going to be a real lesson learned on the mega Republican side of the aisle, because we're going to see a whole hell of a lot of state referenda, and they're going to want to restore it, and that's going to be able to be done.
Can I tell you a fantasy I had?
Sure.
I don't know if you're going to debate your opponent.
I am somewhere. I don't know when. Yeah. I'm happy to debate him.
This is how I would handle it. Tell me if I'm nuts. Well, I am nuts, but tell me if this is accurate. I would stand there on stage with Trump, and I would repeat over and over again, excuse me, please find me 11,000 votes so that I can win the election. I would just repeat that over and over again. And then I'd say to the audience, what are we debating? A man picked up the phone and wanted to say, fake the election, give me 11,000 votes. I don't know how any American who loves this country, that's the end of the debate. You don't get to run if you're going to fix an election.
On January 6th, when they were storming the Capitol.
And a police officer died.
Yeah, and he would say nothing. He was sitting in that office off that dining area off the Oval Office for 3 hours and said nothing. I was supposed to make a speech on the economy that day. Instead, I made a speech I was in Delaware on that issue, because I was elected president, but I wasn't sworn in yet. It was derelict. It was almost criminal. He did nothing. He just sat there and watched what was happening. Not a single, and now he wants to he calls them patriots and victims, and says he's going to pardon them all if he's reelected.
How do some of the guys that you served in the Senate with, I'm talking about Republicans, how are they going along with this?
Well, I don't think, look, this is not your father's Republican Party.
No, it isn't.
This is, I had a lot of Republicans, including the old segregationists that I served with, who at least you could talk to, at least on matters relating to they were totally wrong on civil rights, but the fact is that they understood there's a need for a consensus to run this country. And I gave my word I'd never say their names, and I never will. In the last 3 years, I've had 7 sitting Republican senators. Well, 2 are gone now. 7 sitting Republican senators call me to tell me, Joe, I agree with you, but I just can't do it. He'll get me.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you get these calls in secret where guys go, listen, I can't say it publicly, but I'm for you and I'm going to vote for you. I'm a Republican, but screw it. I can't vote for this guy because he's talking about ending the democracy.
Well, they're not saying they're going to vote for me. They're saying, I agree with you.
And do you say to them, you coward, why don't you say something publicly? Like, where's Jeb Bush? Where's George Bush? Where are these guys? Why don't they say, hey, I'm interested in saving the democracy for our grandchildren?
Well, I don't think the election's over yet on that score.
What do you think's going to happen? I can't imagine you're going to lose, but...
Well, look, he's promised if he doesn't win, there's going to be a bloodbath.
Can you
things
imagine?
Like that. Here's what bothers me most. We have a fundamentally different value set. For example, when he was in Paris, he wouldn't go to that gravesite and said they're losers, these men and women who were killed in battle defending America. Losers, and I'm glad I wasn't there, because I think I would have. My son's in one of those graves. In one of the graves back here, not there. And The idea that they're losers and suckers, a
And
president
McCain's a
saying
loser.
that?
He said McCain's a
Well,
loser.
McCain's a loser.
Can you imagine?
When John McCain got out of prison and was released, he came work for me. He was a Senate liaison officer. We traveled over 100,000 miles together. And he was like an assistant because he was
It's a
the
fabulous
military.
man. I got to meet him before he died.
No, he was a straight up guy, man, and
Yeah.
tough as hell. And but I just I find I can't fathom a president of the United States of America saying that the folks who died defending this country were suckers and losers.